Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy, the strong style nerd, strong style cinephile, Deathstroke on CW Seed. I'll just geek about that for a scant few minutes. Now, months ago, we found out that Deathstroke was going to have a CW Seed animated series. Now, in my opinion, CW Seed shows have been a big miss thus far, with Vixen, both seasons of that, and the Ray Freedom Fighters, especially. That was just especially garbage to me. It just, story sucked, and just some of the problems I had with it. And I'm also kind of curious as to why they can get some actors and from the actual CW shows do the voices, and some that they actually can't. It's just weird how that works. Like on Vixen, they had both Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin, and I think Ralph and Cassidy for Adam and Black Canary when they appeared. But for the Ray, they had Carlos Valdez for Cisco, but then they couldn't get Gustin for the Flash, or the Nazi version of the Flash for that, or Amell for the Nazi version of the Green Arrow, but they got Melissa Benoist for Overgirl. So it's just weird how that works. But Deathstroke, saw the trailer for it. It was a violent incident. Deathstroke just cutting people down and making a deal with a current dictator to not be as evil as a dictator that he had been, or he was going to come back and kill him. It was violent, it was bloody, it was Deathstroke-y, and I was curious about it. Found out Michael Chiklis was voicing Slade Wilson in it. Was even more curious about it. Then finally the episode drops on CWC. Now, of course, I don't like viewing it on there because we have to sit through the ads and stuff like that, but it is what it is. 38-minute episode. I was concerned about the length of the episodes, and if we were just going to get another dose of like 5-minute episodes that was going to consist of the season. But there was actually a 38-minute episode that featured Deathstroke being Deathstroke, where he's a hired merc. His wife and son at home don't know what he's doing. We also see that he had a affair at some point in time, which he and his wife have worked through, but comes to bite him in the butt later on, which I knew, of course, who it was going to be that came out of this, the illegitimate kid that was going to come out of this affair. I mean, it's so obvious. But anyway, starts off with Deathstroke doing his Deathstroke thing, being a merc for hire. Like I said, wife and kid at home don't know what he's doing. We get the, it's called Deathstroke Knights and Dragons. One of the things is he tells his son that he's a knight, kind of fighting a good fight against evil and stuff like that. One of the books his son has him read has to do with knights and that sort of thing. And so he has this fanciful image of his dad and knights and stuff like that. Turns out somebody from Slade's past, Jackal, comes a-calling, wants revenge, attacks Slade's wife at home. She's a formidable fighter in her own regard, but she still gets beaten. Son gets kidnapped. Slade goes to rescue Joe. And of course, we all know what happens from the comics and the origin of Deathstroke, how in trying to rescue Joe's throat gets cut, he's rendered mute, and Deathstroke's ex is, pretty livid about it. The one change that they did make is in the comics, Addie tried to kill Slade and ended up just shooting out his eye. In this series, he already has the eye patch, so I was kind of interested in that change. So then she tells him basically to kick rocks, go away. It's a number of years later, find out that the organization that wanted him to work for them, which was the Hive, is not gone. Slade spent most of the next handful of years disassembling the Hive, taking out all their operatives, killing them, and just making life just difficult for the Hive. But we find out it's all been for naught, that the Hive is actually still around. So Deathstroke goes looking for them to put them down once and for all, because Joe gets snatched again. He's stashed in a school. It's supposed to have good security, doesn't. Joe gets snatched again by Hive, goes after him, goes seeking information from Bronze Tiger, who was in this episode like earlier, fought with Slade. Slade ended up cutting off one of his arms, which was amusing that it happened before, and then it happened again in their second fight where they were just fighting Not because Slade wanted to take him out, because Slade wanted information. Slade gets the information, goes to see the Hive, finds out that the boss of Hive is actually Rose, his daughter from the affair that he had. And she has found out that Joe has some sort of superpowers that are kind of different from the powers that he has in the comics, where if he just makes eye contact with somebody, he can jump into their body, control him, and that sort of thing. It's more of a volatile power that they've given him for this. They've also, I don't know whether it's just some mind-altering stuff he's been put through, or whether or not just a heart-to-heart talk with his illegitimate sister has turned Joe against Slade. Joe, who will also be going, is given the name Jericho by Rose and by Hive. And Slade ends up getting shot off, kicked off a cliff, and that's the end of the episode. Interesting show thus far. I am digging it. Like I said, it's bloody. It's just full-on Deathstroke. Chiklis is great as Slade. The action is good. The animation is good. It's adult without having to just... I think the difference between this and Harley Quinn, the Harley Quinn animated series, which is for adults as well, is just they're desperate to point out, hey, we're adult, we're gritty, we're, and just they want a big neon sign that says, hey, we're adult, which is why they have like F-bombs like every 2 seconds on Harley Quinn, which is really jarring and is one of the most annoying parts I find out about that animated series. But here with Deathstroke, they didn't need to do that. They had some curse words, but it's just the regular ones you hear on like broadcast TV for the most part. But it was bloody, it was violent, but it wasn't just, like I said, just over the top, screaming at you, hey, we're adult, we're gritty. So I like that. I'm really anxious to see where it goes. It's 12 episodes, I believe, and if they're all 30, 35 minutes, I think that will be really good and definitely have me clamoring to pick up the Blu-ray later on. But like I said, Deathstroke, CW Seed, good show. Made some changes from the comics, which I'm fine with. I don't need a complete regurgitation of what I see on the comics for my live action or animated adaptations. Just make it a good story with good action and a good plot. And that's what this show has. Has good voice acting with Chiklis and other supporting characters. Good action thus far. And I'm curious to see where things go in episode 2 and beyond. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on it, scattered as they sometimes can be. What do you guys out there think? Have you seen Deathstroke on CW Seed? If you haven't, you need to check it out. If you have, let me know what you think in the comments below. Follow me on social media, and let's talk Deathstroke there. Let's talk about it here. Let's talk about it everywhere. So many things going on. Crisis, it finishes tomorrow. We'll talk about that shortly. Meantime, let us geek.